Hello, everyone. Welcome to my Facebook Live. I will be starting in a few seconds. I'm just waiting for some people to join and then we'll start. In the meanwhile, I'm just going to chat with you for a minute. I've wanted to do this Facebook Live for a long time. Finally, I am doing it now, and here we are. So let me begin. Let me begin by introducing myself. I'm Manjiri Prabhu. I'm an author and I'm also a festival curator. I'm the director and curator of two festivals. One is the Pune International Literary Festival, which began in 2013, and the other one is the International Festival of Spiritual India. That is just 2 years old. We've done 2 years of it. And so basically, I am an author. I'm a short filmmaker. I like to make short films. I was a television producer for many years, a children's television producer. I've been wearing many kind of hats, and I think writing is my first passion, though. Let's begin. I want to I'd like to request you, if you are online, to just say hi to me so I know who's online. And if you have any questions or something, I can see you comment. You can put them in the comment area and then I can try to answer them. So, basically, what I want to talk to you about today is my writing journey. And I was quite young. I was 7 years old when I wanted to be a writer. I mean, I knew that. I'd read a lot of Enid Blyton books, and I got so involved with, her kind of work and the way the children have fun. And I felt that I wanted to create the same kind of stories and same kind of bring in the same kind of fun element in the stories that I write. And I knew at once at age 7 that I wanted to be a writer. So along the way, of course, a lot of things change. You have a career and you do other things and you have to earn money and stuff like that. But all along, I knew that the germ of writing in me was never going to go. So it started at a very young age, but I got published quite late. I think the main reason for that is that I never really wrote for publishing. I remember as a child, I always felt that, I was very happy writing. I think it was that one space and that one area where if I felt sad or if I was restless or if I was unhappy, the one thing I could do to make myself happy was to write. So I think for me, writing really brings joy and brings happiness. And I think all my life, what I really aimed with writing was to be happy. So I never really thought of publishing. I just wrote for myself for a long, long time. And then in 94, I think some of you may not even have been born then. In 94, Rupa Publication started an Indian counterpart for the Mills and Boon series. Mills and Boon was very popular in India then. So that's when they started the Rupa Publications, and I wrote two novels for them. One was A Symphony of Hearts, and the other one was Silver in the Mist. And they were quite a hit, and I think the series took off, but I don't know what happened, whether they continued it or not. But I got two books published then. Coming to the Cosmic Clues, they were originally published by Random House USA. I'm going to show you the books. So they were originally published by Random House USA. So this is the Cosmic Clues. I hope you can see it. Can you see it properly? Okay, this is the original cover of yeah, this is better. This is the Cosmic Clues. And the sequel is called The Astral Alibi. Can you see it properly? Yes. The Astral Alibi. And so there's a story behind all of this. Now, when I grew up, there was an atmosphere of astrology in my house. And my mom is an astrologer, quite a renowned astrologer. And I used to always consult her. I mean, all of us, all my sisters and brother and all, we all used to consult her for, lost things. Or I used to ask her, is this boy interested in me? Or maybe later on, even in professional guidance and all. But what really kind of changed my outlook towards it was when there was this Bollywood director. I mean, this is a story I tell all the time, but for those of you who don't know, I'd like to share it with you again. There was this one Bollywood director who once came to my mom and said that there's something very important I would like you to tell from my horoscope. I think they were in a kind of party. There were people around, and he had his horoscope with him. And my mom just quickly looked at it and said, "What's your question?" And he said, "I want to know if I'm going to have a son. I'm going to ever have a son." And my mom looked at the horoscope and she said, "Do you want to go somewhere private?" So he said, "No, you can tell me whatever it is right here." She said, "Okay." She said, "Your horoscope says that you already have a son, except that you cannot claim him as yours." And that shook him. And when this happened, when I heard the story from my mom, I was quite startled too, because I realized that the horoscope is such an x-ray of a person. So whether you believe in astrology or not, you can definitely use as a guideline. And I wondered, why had no one ever used a horoscope in solving crime? So well, then I decided to do something about it, of course, and I came up with this book, The Cosmic Clues and Stellar Signs. Now, The Cosmic Clues has some important characters in it, of course, like there's Sonia Samarth, who's the world's first astro detective, and then there is Monish Rai, who is a TV journalist who's interested in Sonia, but at the same time, he doesn't approve of her modus operandi. Then there is an international thief, a jewel thief, whom no one has seen, and he's called the Owl. Then there's Sonia's assistant, a pompous guy who thinks no end of himself and really feels that Sonia needs to be very professional. His name is Jatin. But most importantly, there is a cat called Nidhi in the book who plays a very vital role. And Nidhi actually comes from a very personal experience of mine. I'll show you her picture. She's an inspiration from, I don't know now. Can you see? None of the books will be seen. Can you see this? Because since I can't see my picture, can you see her? Just say yes if you can see her. Wait. Can you see? Yeah, Cat Nidhi is interesting. Yes. Will there be more in the series? Can you see the picture of my cat, Rambha, that I'm showing you right now? Can you see the picture? Just say yes if you can, because my visual is completely gone. Okay, so that's Rambha. Now, so Rambha came as a small, scrawny cat kitten to the place where I was working in Balchitravani, and I used to make television programs there. And yes, you can see it. Okay, yeah. So I used to make television programs in Balchitravani, and one fine day we found this real scrawny kitten hiding in the files, and we just picked her up and we gave her food, and she became a permanent member of the institute. She used to sit on my table, she used to sit on my lap, and she became very famous. In fact, Sakal Times even did an article on her, and she kind of brought a big change in my life, because by that time I was a little bored doing the same old stuff, educational stuff, films, of course. And suddenly with Rambha, what happened was I started doing a film on her. I used her as a character, and for a year, I was so obsessed with it that I kind of kept shooting her at night, at daytime, wherever she went, and I built a story around her. And I made a 20-minute film. And while I was doing it, I was also, of course, thinking of the Cosmic Clues. And I realized that the way Rambha had given me some kind of inspiration and brought me some new work in the place where I was working, I said that a similar cat has to be a part of the Cosmic Clues. And that is how Nidhi comes in, and she brings Sonia her first case. And every time Sonia is upset, Nidhi will go and sit, beside her, or she will go and she will lead her to a case. She will lead her to opportunities, and she plays a big role in the Cosmic Clues and Stellar Signs. Anyway, so that's about the cat, and I don't know if I have any other pictures, but yes, Rambha is cute, and there's this picture, but I don't think I took it when the book came out with Rambha and my book, The Cosmic Clues. It's like a memory. Of course, Rambha isn't there anymore. When I left Balchitravani, she vanished. So that's about her. Anyway, so I wrote these two books, and then I was so excited about them. This has never been done before, and I'm sure that the publishers would love it. Unfortunately for me, none of the Indian publishers wanted a book where a detective, a lady detective from India, was solving cases with horoscopes. At that point, this was in 2004. India was mostly into literary fiction, and popular fiction wasn't popular at all. So I was, and of course, there were no lady detectives. I think Sonia Samath must have been the first Indian lady detective and the world's first astro detective. So it was a very new thing, and I think the Indian publishers hesitated. Luckily for me, what happened was that I got a two-book deal with Random House USA, and I think that kind of changed my life because I think it was the best release that these two books could have got. And uh, what happened was I started working on the book. So, and I was working with a really superior international editor called Kate Misiak, and she was the VP of Bantam Dell and Random House. And I was a little nervous actually at first because working on an international platform and having worked with just Indian publishers and then suddenly international. But she really was so nice and so sweet. She gave me so much confidence, and I still remember that our working equation was so beautiful. I think she's the best editor I ever worked with. And I remember when the book first came out, she sent me the first advance copies and her small visiting card, which said she had written a note on the card which said, "Manjiri, it's a book." I've still kept it. And then when it went into second edition, she sent me another card like this. I don't think you can read it, but I'll still say it. Manjari already in its second printing. I don't know if you can see this card, but this is what she sent me, and I don't know. The message is right here. So she gave these personal touches, and she made me feel really, really nice about it. Anyway, so then later on, about 10 years later, Jaico Publishing, which is India's oldest and most reputed publishing house, republished the books in India, and they came out as in this version. I don't know. Can you see it? Can you see the version? Just say yes if you can, because um, can you see the book? So this is Cosmic Clues, and this is Stellar Signs. Do let me know if you can see the pics properly because I cannot see any of any picture at all. Hmm. I hope you can see the pictures. Okay. Anyway, so well, that's about it. I'm going to read a small extract from the Stellar Signs. The uniqueness of the books is that uh, they're kind of a serialized novel in the sense that there are multiple cases which take place within a novel. So there are certain characters which move from one story to another, but there are different cases which Sonia solves, and it's actually her story. It's her journey of, you know, from an amateur detective to a really seasoned detective with the help of astrology as her modus operandi. So, okay, but you can hear me, right, Basu? Uh, Gauri, you can hear me. Yes, okay, fine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's some technical issue here, but as long as you can hear me and see me, I'm fine. So I'm going to read a story from this called just one page, or rather two bits of that story. It is a story called Anything for Love, and it's about a play which takes place on stage, and the two lead characters, Anup and Jaya. Uh, they in the story in the drama itself, they poison each other and fall dead on stage. So I'm going to read that bit first, and then I'm going to read the bit. Uh, yes, of course, yes, Gauri, I'm going to also read the astrology part, but I'm first just giving you a background of the story. So here it is. I hope you can hear me. Right. So the third bell rang, and the audience returned to their seats. The lights dimmed, and the play resumed. Mohnish and Sonia watched, totally enthralled by the performances of the two lead actors. As scene followed scene, the emotions of the lovers on the stage swung high and then low as they battled the opposition from society to their love. Finally, frustrated and fed up, they decide to celebrate the love and make it eternal by ending their lives. The lights on stage were dim as the last scene was enacted. Anup and Jaya looked at each other with tears in their eyes. They hugged, then moved away without a word. A lump formed in Monish's throat. A little ashamed, he flashed a glance at his companion and with great surprise witnessed drops glistening on Sonia's eyelashes. Spontaneously, he grasped her hand and squeezed it. On the stage, Jaya poured juice into a glass and handed the juice to Anup, who did the same. Then they moved to the opposite ends of the sitting room. A sad, melancholy song of loving and parting played in the background as the two lovers poured portion into their glasses. Then they approached, stared longingly into each other's eyes, and exchanged glasses. They raised their glasses silently in a toast to their love, and then simultaneously swallowed their last and final drink. As they finished the juice, the poison began reacting, and they clutched hands, desperately holding on to the ebbing spirit of life. They crashed to the ground, entwined in each other's arms, while the music reached a peak. The curtains closed on their fallen bodies. A thunderous applause zipped through the auditorium. Sonia and Monish rose, clapping hard. Tears flowed freely down Sonia's cheeks. In moments, the director and the two actors came back on stage. All three bowed low, smiling and looking triumphant. The applause grew steadily in appreciation of the realistic performances and the successful direction. And then Jaya stumbled. Karun held her as she swayed and lost balance, crumpling to the floor. Jaya, the director cried. Anup watched on, a strange smile on his lips. Then his smile faltered, and he too lost his footing, clutching his throat. Within seconds, his face changed color, and his eyes took on a look of horror as he dropped to the wooden stage floor. Somebody call a doctor! It took a while for the audience to realize that this was no more fine acting. The clapping echoed into eerie silence as shocked faces turned to one another through the auditorium. So, this was the scene where a mutual murder actually happens on the stage. And now, just a little bit where Sonia is actually solving this case with the help of horoscopes. Sonia aligned the horoscopes on the table. With a pleased smile, Jatin turned to the CD player and selected a violin instrumental. He turned on the volume and hastily stepped out of the office with a complete sense of accomplishment. Sonia took up each horoscope, staring at them in contemplation. Jaya, Anup, Deepa, and Karan. Artistic and talented, all of them. But of what use was their art now? Anup and Jaya were dead, and Karan and Deepa were tainted with the brush of murder. Then suddenly she stiffened. My God, she thought, this certainly was a perfect mutual murder, the culmination of a poignant romance. As the classical violin began its journey, Sonia's heart began thudding, responding to the music and the discovery in the horoscope that was staring her in the face. Passing remarks and comments that she'd overheard that day replayed in her head over the rising tones of the violin. She perched on her chair, her mind revolving like a giant wheel. The image of a string instrument being tuned flashed in her mind. A musician tightened each string for the perfect tone. He continued to tighten the string till it became taut and yet produced that perfect musical sound that he desired. This was what lay under these murders, she realized, tightening of bonds till they suffocated. Without warning, the last scene of the play arose before her eyes as clearly as if she was seeing it again. The beauty of it struck her afresh. So wonderfully enacted, such powerful emotions, more meaningful because they were real. Every look the two actors gave each other, every moment of shared love, anxiety, and pain was real. She could admit that freely now, because she could read those sentiments and the passion in their horoscopes. The strong attraction between Jaya and Anup was obvious in their charts. And now she understood, as clearly as if someone had announced it, what the mutual killing had achieved poetic justice for love. As the violin began its soulful crescendo, tears gushed down Sonia's cheeks, a spontaneous response to a beautifully moving and masterfully rendered musical piece. So that's Anything for Love, and so all the cases are solved with the help of horoscopes, and I think Sonia does a brilliant job. And all my research of horoscopes came from my mother, of course, because I had to use cases where horoscopes were used, because that was Sonia's modus operandi. So that is basically it. We are approaching closing time, but I want to ask one question. There's going to be one question that I'm going to ask, which you can respond privately to me. The answer can be responded privately, because if you write it down here, the others would also see. And I'm going to give away a copy of the Cosmic Clues and Stellar Signs to the lucky winner. Of course, I will choose the winner. So the question is, what is Sonia's unique habit when she needs to think? If you haven't read the books, you may not know it, but if you have, uh, yes, Gauri, I can read a horoscope too, but I'm not going to do any horoscope reading here. So, anyway, so the question is, please listen to it again, and you can DM me, message me directly. Please don't write in the comments, because then the others would know. And one lucky winner is going to get a set of the Cosmic Clues and Stellar Signs. The question is, what is Sonia's unique habit when she needs to think? Okay. I hope you got the question. Don't message on FB. Send me a private message. Send me a message on, on my messenger, Gauri. Do not write here. Okay. That's right. And then the writing tip of the week. I want to give you a writing tip for those who are aspiring writers here. Sorry, I'm just going to take a few questions. Uh, didn't you ever get any Bollywood or web series adaptation offers? Yes, I did. I got quite a few Bollywood and adaptation offers for this. We're just trying to work out a deal, a suitable deal, which is a win-win situation for everyone. So you never know, maybe next year, this year, it could happen anytime. Then, is there a chance of seeing the books as serial? Yes, there is a chance. Uh, I have already read. Thank you. The covers are beautiful. Yes. Yes. So now the writing tip for those who want to write is, I think I already gave this tip on another group, and I'm going to say that again, that if you want to write anything at all, you have to write from your heart, because your heart knows what's best for you. Don't write with your head, write with your heart, because ultimately you have to love what you write. If you love what you write, everyone else will love what you write. So that's my writing tip, and I think that's it. If there are any questions, you can put them in the comment section, and I will respond to them soon. And I plan to do this every Saturday, and hopefully I won't have a technical problem next time, but I'll try to fix this. I'm really sorry about that, if there was a delay or a lag or anything. But I hope to do this every Saturday. Next Saturday is going to be the book Revolt of the Lamebrin, which is 1 second. I didn't quite understand how Sonia uses horoscopes to solve crime. Can you explain? Yes. So basically, like I said before, I don't know, Meenal, if you came a little late, but if you look at horoscopes, they are like your X-rays, and when you look at a horoscope, you can predict quite a few things, but you most certainly can predict the person's character. So, if a person has criminal tendencies, you can tell. You can tell if a person is could do something wrong. If he's going through a bad patch in life, if he's going through, these things you can an experienced astrologer can tell. So what Sonia does is she uses all her deduction methods. She doesn't, sidetrack them. She uses all her deduction methods. But when she's stuck, she uses the horoscopes of the accused people, or the people who are a part of that story, to find out, to find a direction in her investigation. And you have to read the book to know how she does it, of course. I'm not going to tell you that. But basically, she uses it as a map for her to find directions in her investigation. Yes, I need a list of all. Yes, sure, Sarita. I will give them to you. Yeah, so I was saying that next Saturday at the same time, I will be talking about my first dystopian book, The Revolt of the Lamebrin. It is the first book in a trilogy of a Superdome trilogy, Superdome Chronicles. And I hope to see you there, and many more too. So thank you, and Thank you very much for being a part of my FB session, and thank you for the encouragement, and I'll see you soon again. Bye.